I think the sound is right. All right. Welcome to the Oracle. Welcome to the Center of Peace. It's an exciting time to be alive, and I feel really full of positive energy. And the reason for that is I had felt, even without consciously knowing it, a buildup of negative energy. Things within myself, things that I was still stuffing as much work as I do on myself. And I know that all of you that are tuning in and are here in person, we work on ourselves all the time. But I think that one of the hardest things for people who are on a conscious spiritual path, we tend to be hard on ourselves. We tend to think that unconditional love means that's going toward others, or somehow not hurting other people's feelings, or somehow taking things in stride, or we're a bigger person, or we can cope with it, we can deal with it, we can buffer things, or we can be the people that somehow transmute everything that's going on. And I'm here to tell you, as I'm sure all of you know, that's not happening. We are like one big raw nerve right now, and there's a reason. The nervous system, if you haven't noticed it, is very activated. So if you felt like you're literally on your last nerve, if you have felt anxious, if you felt angry, if you felt you don't even know what you're feeling, but you are feeling, it's because you are waking up. We are waking up out of a deep programmed sleep of toxicity, of being buried under thought forms, misguided energies. And I will tell you, between now and the 21st of September, so we're going into this fall equinox vibration, you will, every moment will be more like days, weeks worth of activity, because this awakening that's happening right now, again, is an actualization of present time, but it's more than that at this point. You, as the Lord of your creation, you as the person who has free will, who is a co-creator with God, the awakening that's going on right now, you are going to feel more and more and more and more as you awaken, very consciously aware of where you have denied anger, where you have denied yourself, where you have not dealt with things. So if you're having a lot of memories, if you're having a lot of things come up for yourself that you think, why is this coming up now? It's because what the actualization of present time really is, there's nothing is linear, nothing's in a cycle. So you're going to have more and more and more as things are building here, intolerance for anything that's getting you off of your center, anything that is negative or stealing your joy or keeping you from actualizing unconditional love or finding happiness. And you will find yourself very, many times it's a frustration, it's an anger, it's a pent-up energy that maybe you don't even know what to do with. But I know one thing. Many things you used to do, you won't find enjoyment in. So the things that maybe you used to do to not deal with or to deny or to somehow self-medicate or self-soothe, they are not working. You know, we're having to be adults in spirit. We can't be babies anymore. We can't have a pacifier. We can't have we're not little babies crawling around where we can, say, oh, I want Jesus to do this, or I want Buddha to do this for me, I want God to do this for me. We have to step up, and we have to grow up in our spiritual beings. It's not a time of when I pray or when I meditate or when I'm dreaming, that's when I'm in touch with the other side, or when it's something that's not happening all the time, because that's the illusion. You were never separate from God. You were never separate from yourself. You were never separate from others. So the biggest lie that ever happened on this earth was when we fell through fear, not sexuality in the garden. We fell through fear into the illusion of separation from self, others, spirit, and we felt cast out. When we fell into that fear, again, we fell into that reptilian brainstem. The reptilian brainstem is really represented by the negative serpent in the garden that was beguiling and saying, eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The tree of life is you. That's the big secret of the Kabbalah. When you see all the movie stars, studying Kabbalah, blah, blah, blah. The real Kabbalah is ancient, it's real, it's not getting a little red band you wear. And I'm not putting down the people who do that. There's some great, I know some people, and really nice rabbis in LA and different things. But the true tree of life, and the secret of the tree of life is that your body temple, you are the tree of life. We're walking trees. That's why when I do the guided meditations, we do the meditation about seeing the root system from the bottoms of your feet, seeing the connection to heaven with the top energies that come off the top of the head. But you are a living, breathing tree of life. Your body is a temple. We are made up of many vehicles and in which the soul resides. But you are the tree of life. Your garden and your connection with God has never gone away. When we fell through fear, shame, guilt, we fell into that reptilian brain stem that wants to say, this is bad, this is good. I'm right, you're wrong. We fell into confusion. We fell into, when we fall into these attachments, and attachments that are negative or positive are what, in Buddhism, we say it's what causes all sorrow, is attachment. So when we fell into taking sides, that's when conflict, war began. That's when we felt like we had to defend territory, defend what we believed, what we thought. And we started to, instead of feeling true spiritual connection, dogma came into play. And when they've done the studies on all religions, mystics of all religion, whether it be Buddhist, whether it be Christian, whether it be anything you can think of, all the different religions, the myriad of sects and religions, but the mystics of all religions report seeing the Muslims, all of them, everybody that lives in a mystical level. And what I consider a true mystic, it's not somebody that calls himself a mystic. When you are a mystic, you are actualizing, you're walking your walk. You're talking your talk. It's not something you are thinking about. It's not something that you are spouting off because you read it in a book. It's how you live your life. And the most amazing saints and masters you'll never hear about, because why? It's not about their ego. They're living their lives. And whatever crosses their path, they're one with it, and that is their path, and they spread light, and they spread joy, and they spread unconditional love. But the mystics of all the different religions always see something that equates to the 7 levels of consciousness, the different vibrant colors, the different, in my father's house are many mansions. They will describe the same type of experiences in altered state, in these, well, some people might call them, I don't think they're altered states, but that's what the Western mind was going, these are altered states of consciousness. No, they're real states of consciousness. And just because some people can't see them or experience them, they think they're altered. And a lot of people in the 60s and through LSD or through, mescaline, different mind-altering drugs, what they were really doing was affecting the pineal and pituitary gland. It's what is really the opening of the third eye. And you have to be very careful with that, because there are many false ways. You can shock open the pineal and pituitary, and you'll have an amazing, and I think a lot of people have had those experiences. If you've been extremely tired, haven't slept, been drained, all of a sudden they report seeing different things or hearing different things, because again, your defenses are down or whatever. There are many different ways, but what we're going to do tonight, when we do a meditation, we're going to go into this feeling and experiencing what this mystical state is. It's not something we're going to talk about. We're creating a safe space here for you to be able to feel safe, to be open, to actualize. Fundamentalists of all religions see the same thing. I was brought up in a fundamentalist Baptist church, which was horrifically bad for me, because I remember my birth and where I was before. But the best part of it was, I remember when being 2-3 years old, and they're saying, nobody's going to heaven if they don't believe the way we do. And I thought, this is so good, I won't have to see any of these people. It was not intimidating to me, because I could remember my birth and where I was, and I knew it was just a joke. I thought, good, that's probably true, because you will not be where what I am perceiving of the afterlife. And so the fundamentalists, whether it be Muslim, whether it be Baptist, whether it be Catholic, whether it be letter of the law, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, judgment, hellfire, damnation, control, and fear are the same thing. I have actually met people, educate people, that they think that the King James Version of the Bible is how it was given to, and I'm going, are you kidding me? Did you not? No, it was not given in English. It's translated from many things. But they're the people that, it says it right here. And again, it's a path for some people. Most people, when they grow spiritually, they know that dogmatic thinking, rules are man-made. And there's a higher spiritual law. There's a higher spiritual law. And when you get it, you shy away from that fundamentalist thinking. That's why a lot of people who have gone down a criminal path or don't have people that, it's the same thing with military. A lot of people that will go into the military or that will go into more of the fundamentalist religions, they had a broken childhood many times, and they're looking for a father figure. They're looking for a system that tells them when you get up, when you go to bed, what you're supposed to do in a setting. And people who have addictions, people who have certain issues, that can be a very comforting thing at first. But so I'm not putting these things down, but when you grow, you'll find that rote belief systems that have nothing to do with true spiritual experiences won't make sense after a while. They make sense when you're a baby. They make sense when it's like little children. You have to teach them, don't touch the stove, or all this kind of stuff. That's why I'm equating it to we've all been infants, babies in spirit, and we've been growing up. Oh, guys, how about Talladega Nights when he prays and he goes, "Dear baby Jesus, dear teenage Jesus." I love that movie. It's so funny. Because it's kind of like that. We've all been kind of going through this adolescent thing, and what I know is happening with all of us right now is a group energy. We are being forced to graduate. We're being kicked out of home. We're being forced to co-create with God. We're being forced to take responsibility. It's just like when you're a little kid or you're a teenager or whatever, when you still want to blame mom or dad, or you still want to blame your brother or your sister, or you still want to somehow not see yourself. And we all do it. We all still do it. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to get harder and harder to do it. You're going to know where the stuff is coming back to, and it's you. Now, does this mean you feel bad about yourself or you beat yourself up? That's a whole other thing that manifests for a lot of people. No, that's not the answer either. Guilt, shame, and fear, control. The dark forces have done their best work through organized religion, through different ways of disempowering people. And as the awakening that's coming into the earth. It's not coming into the earth, it's here. You are going to be very confused maybe for a moment about what do I believe. Even people that I know that have had very strong beliefs in more of a new age way, or more of a, even some very free thinking people and mystical people that I know that have lived their lives a certain way for a long time are going, wow, you know what? I'm encountering these really, what I thought were really high beliefs or ways I was living my life, and I'm realizing that they're pretty dogmatic themselves, that I'm stuck, that I'm stuck in a thought form, I'm stuck in an idea, that something, if it's, you know, it has to be this, or it has to feel like this, or look like this. And whatever it's going to take in our lives right now, the barriers are removed. And as we're coming into, we just had Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. I always go back to some of the earliest calendars we know and ways of talking. It's not about religion. Guess what's coming up Friday through Monday? Yom Kippur, the Days of Atonement. And what the Days are of Atonement, it's kind of like in All Saints, Halloween, All Saints Day, all those things, they think is when the veil is thinnest between heaven and earth. Yom Kippur is the same way. It's the time that we're closest to God. And in the true mystical levels of Judaism, the names of God are so sacred, you'll always see it spelled G, and then they don't put the O, and they put the D. So if you ever see that, that's why. They don't, it's such a holy name, there's no way to even put a form on what God is. They don't finish spelling it. They'll leave something out. So as we're coming into this Days of Atonement, and again, it's not about beating yourself up. It's not about, let me get my bad list out here of what I've done. It's a true time of forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of others. But to truly forgive ourselves and forgive others, we've been going through a very rough patch where you may have gone through some stuff recently where you don't feel like you maybe like anybody. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Or where you thought, in my case, it's kind of like, really, I love spending a lot of time with my animals, much more than most people. Yeah, it comes in many forms. Because they teach us, they're about unconditional love. So if you've had these days, moments, weeks where you just really go, man, maybe I'm just crazy and I don't like people, I don't like anything, maybe I don't really get along with people, I don't really, no, you're coming out of denial. You're coming out of things that you have pushed down and pushed down and pushed down for so long that it's erupting. And I'm going to tell you, the answer is keep feeling the feelings. Keep going down into what you're experiencing. And sometimes it is better to not be around people. Sometimes when you are going through darkness, you don't want to, like I say, it's really good to do anger therapy, but don't break other people's things. Yeah. There's good ways to like work through your stuff, but know that you are not alone. None of us are alone. I know such a wide variety of people from A to Z, and I don't know anybody right now who has not experienced in the last few months the most amazing highs, the most amazing things that are manifesting, like miraculous, wonderful things, but also at the same time manifested hellacious, uncomfortable, icky, yucky stuff. So it's this present time. It's not about it's this or that. And that's one of in our brain really has been so programmed into the left hemisphere or the right hemisphere. And the true happiness, and that's why, again, babies, children, we're in a meditative state. When you're in the alpha state, when both sides of the brain are one, everything feels really good. We all know that. And they talk about this a lot in the Gospels, the Essene Gospels. They talk about it in the Gnostic. Gnostic means knowledge. The Cathars talked about it, or Cathars, however you want to pronounce it. But by the 4th century, by the Nicene Council, all the very early beliefs that were really taught, the true teachings of spirituality, the groups had been murdered and killed, and the books were written out of the Bible. And if you want to explore this, there's many ways. There's a book, many books about the books that you can actually find the books that were written out, the 11 books that were written out. And they're finding, of course, more and more the Coptic Gospels and the Gnostic Gospels, and the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and of Judas, even, and of different things. So we're in that time of revealment. And what the early path was all about was about love. It wasn't about laws. Who did Jesus have the biggest problem with? The Sadducees and the Pharisees. The Sadducees and the Pharisees they controlled the temple. And they were the ones that judged everybody. And they were the ones that said there were money changers in the temple, and you had to buy the sacrifice. And one of the most famous stories they left in the Bible was Jesus going into the temple with a whip and chasing the money changers out. And different other writings that they have found from the earlier teachings, it wasn't just about money. They were selling blood sacrifice. Nothing was supposed to die. It's not about blood sacrifices. That's demonic. Why are vampire stories so appealing to people? Why in Santeria and in voodoo and in the dark arts do they sacrifice animals? It was never supposed to be sacrificial animals. So when Jesus came through that temple and cleared that energy out, that's what it was about. It wasn't just about the money changing hands. It was about we are not in that time. It's not a time of sacrificing. Nothing should die for other people to live, for things to live. It was about that. And the reason I'm going into that story, or those kind of stories, you within yourself are going to have many, many more awakenings, your own spiritual connection with God, with Spirit, and your own experiences where truth is truth, and there's only one big body of spirit. We were not put on this earth to suffer. We're not put on this earth to enable bad people, enable bad behavior. But every time you walk away from something and you turn your eye and you know that you're hurting yourself, you're doing something, that's what you're doing, it's wrong. Every time you walk away and you think, I wish I would have said this, I wish I would have done that, and you take on the pain, that's sin. That's all sin is. That's the sin. Because you're enabling evil. You're helping perpetuate a toxic alignment. We've gone through all the years and the catchphrases of healing the inner child, healing codependence. And those are all things that are real. We're all codependent. We're all whatever. But again, the last vestiges of that codependent energy are lingering. So what happens is, in this awakening, and as you're waking up out of the matrix of your own group of people, you're going to be having days where you all of a sudden, I call them aha moments, where you kind of go, somebody might call you on the phone and you haven't really had any drama or negative situation with them, but you look at the phone and you kind of go, don't answer the phone. Where maybe 2 days ago or 2 hours ago, you might have answered the phone. Pay attention to why you're not answering the phone. And most of the time, it's because that person is draining or toxic, or they make you feel bad. or they make you feel guilty, or they hook in a way where there's not a reciprocal exchange of energy. You're going to find yourself, many people are going through this right now, tons of people that belong to, I'll just say this for an example, Rotary, or different groups that good groups that did constructive things, where they're all of a sudden going, you know what, I don't want to go to those things where people gossip and talk about everybody. I'm not really, we collect our Rotary dollars, or, I've had a lot of this as an example recently with some clients. And believe it or not, I am asked to speak at Rotaries because, for the last 10 or 15 years, this is a more popular subject to have, psychics or spiritual people come. And they don't want to go anywhere because why don't I just do my own good works? Why do I have to go and it be about this, I like the camaraderie, but I'm doing my own thing now. So you're going to find that, and again, there's nothing wrong with these organizations, nothing wrong with giving money or helping, but you're going to find more and more and more you want, instead of giving your money or giving your time to the United Way or to whatever, what you're going to find so many people, situations where you can give something better than money, something better than time. When you are present in your body temple and you are filled with light and you are free from the guilt, the shame, the fear, you're free from being closed down and you're open, you become this beacon of light that affects hundreds and thousands of other people. And just by how you are living your life, it's not a show. It's not, and that's one of the things again. And Buddha had the same problems. Buddha and Jesus, many of the great saints and masters had the same problem. And you all know these stories. People that pontificate and they go to church on Sunday or they do whatever they do and they put on the big show and then you see them in the parking lot. Well, this happened to me as a little child. I was always the person, no matter how little I was the person that saw everything that was going on. I remember, one Sunday pontificating at the evils of alcohol and blah, 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 blah. And I remember this same person that was up in the pulpit, pontificating about drinking. For some reason, we were delayed, and wherever our car was parked, and I'm probably I'm talking about 3 years old. No, it wasn't. And I see this guy pull out. Of course, I don't even know what drinking, because alcohol was not allowed in our house. Didn't mean my dad didn't drink. I just didn't know about it. So I was an adult. There was no. They were just, my mother came from a very strict Dutch background, and they were very, kind of puritanical. But I'm the person that sees this guy take a bottle out of his pocket and take a swig, and so I go, "What's that?" in this guy's face. It's like, and then I go. My parents were like, "Oh my God!" They were like, "It was just one of those moments." Why that seems to be my life, and people get really mad at me, and it's like, "Oh well, it's just the way it goes." But that what I'm talking about. People who are very hypocritical. They'll tell you one thing, but then how they're actually living their lives, or they will look like they're doing good works. And the different types of religion scriptures talk about this. And we're in that time that in Revelations they talk. God says, I will spit them out of my mouth. It doesn't matter if you're doing good works if you don't have a good heart. What's the motive and intention in your heart? Why are you doing a good work? Are you doing it for a show? So again, in your everyday existence, and you all can do this. That's why Jesus and Buddha and all the saints and masters have said this. You can do all that I've done and more. I came to show a way. I didn't come to found a religion. I came to show you a way of being, a way of life, a way of love, a way of compassion. And when you all know that feeling, when you are in that flow. And again, in the early Gnostic Gospels, they say, except the eye becomes single, you cannot go into the kingdom of heaven. They're talking about going up. That's the meaning of the pyramid and the Trinity. When you're out of that duality and you're in that oneness, when you're in that higher state, Nothing's wrong. You feel the oneness, the wholeness. They also say, except you become a child, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. They're talking about that child, innocent self. Because even in our adult state, we have that innocent child that is integrating at this time with our adult self. And one of the most mysterious things, it isn't when I explain it to you, that they have found in the different early gospels that were cut out, except a man become a woman, or except a woman become a man, they cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. They're speaking of what Jung wrote about not that long ago. Everybody has the anima and the animus. The inner psyche of a male is female, the inner psyche of a female is male. We all know the yin-yang sign, where you have a little bit of the dark, a little bit of the light. So except you become united from within with your own male-female, when you have that integration, when you have stopped warring with the outward manifestation of what's male and female, the healing of the enmity between male and female is key to everything right now. I've talked a lot about this in past oracles. What happened in the allegorical, or if you want to look at it, literal story of Adam and Eve? What happened? Well, I will tell you that Iraq was Babylon. And the earliest, people don't realize that, that's where the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were. Iraq was Babylon. The earliest writings that were found were Sumerian, and the earliest creation stories said the Great Mother created everything, and in her loneliness she created a son who grew up and said he created everything. By the time we've been through matriarchal and patriarchal cycles. So what did they find in all the ancient places they've dug are these beautiful Gaia figures, these pregnant the Mother Earth figures. So we lived in a time of a worshiping of the divine feminine. And we all know about what goes on right now with the Taliban and with the darkness of covering women and, the repression of that divine feminine. So we're living in a time of where we've gone from there to there. But there's also been times when the divine feminine was more in control, that there was misuse and negative control over male energy. So we're actually living in a time of healing that enmity, healing that illusion of the separation. So again, in the creation myths, if you were going to go into science, right, splitting of the cells, right? I mean, there's a splitting of the division of cells. If you want to go into the story of Adam and Eve, where Eve is blamed for eating the apple and giving it to. There's this punishment of suffering and being cast out of the garden, and so right away there's this sinister kind of mistrust of female and of male. And again, it's allegorical, because if we all have male and female, it's teaching us not to trust our intuition, or the different sides of the brain control different things, and it's really very real. One side controls rational thinking, the math, and the conscious mind. The other is a very creative side, and these kind of things. They're talking more about in an allegorical way. We are in a time of union. One of the most ancient symbols of alchemy, and many of the different royal houses in Europe and the Masonic lodges all use this. It's the double-headed eagle. It's one body. It's really a phoenix. Double-headed phoenix, double-headed eagle. It's one body, two heads. It's the male and the female, and they have crowns on their head. They're in joint rulership. So we're not in a time where, okay, men are icky and now women are going to rule. And there's a lot of that teaching that really turns me off, because that's not going to get anybody anywhere. That's not what it's about. It's a time to heal and make peace with your own inner male-female. Take time every day to go within and think, what do I really, when I think about love, when I think about relationships, when I think about men, when I think about women, and don't censor it, what really comes up for you? And you'll find layers and layers. Even if you've done work on yourself, you will find layers and layers of emotion and negative thought forms and preconceived ideas. And you want to clear these things. You want to consciously connect with your inner male, female, the inner beloved, the inner union. The more whole you are from within, the more you will exude wholeness and attract wholeness. And it's not just about male, female. The true path of Tantra, everybody gets so excited. They think it's all about the sexual positions and all kinds of stuff. Tantra means union. The true path of Tantra is when you, within yourself, can become your own mother, father, brother, sister, lover, savior. Whatever archetype you're looking for in the outer world, it's when you activate that archetype within yourself. There are negative archetypes. The saboteur, we talked about this last week. One of the last biggest things I see myself and others dealing with are the negative archetypes is the saboteur. How we will get to a certain point and we just stab ourselves in the back. We keep ourselves from, for whatever reason, being happy. We pull our own rug out from under our own feet. So we don't just have these positive archetypes. There are the matching picture to the negative archetypes. So, and again, that's one of the ones I think that we're all dealing with right now is that sabotaging, that reaching certain points where you are right there. And again, I don't believe that most people have a fear of success or fear of failure. I think they have a fear of success. I think they have a fear of completing. And a lot of it comes, I believe, from times in this life, past lives, when you were in your whole self. And maybe even as a little innocent child and you were speaking your truth and people said you were lying, or people repressed you, or people hit you, or adults controlled you, and so you kind of learned to hide. You were afraid to be who you were. A lot of the saboteur comes from fear of the memory of when you were speaking your truth, when you were in that innocent state and you were full of your power and full of empowerment from within, and something would attack you, something would try to squash you, something would repress you. And again, many times it's from childhood, many times it's past life. It's time for it to stop. How do we stop it? Is when you make a decision within yourself that you're no longer going to allow yourself to be hurt and that you're safe to be yourself. And it's that tricky point. And where you get to the point where it doesn't matter when you're in your true empowerment and when you're full of that light, where it won't matter anymore if somebody wants to attack you or squash you in some way or try to work against you. You will be so filled with light and your own balance and own empowerment, it won't affect you. And that's one of the last trickiest things, because we all want people to like us. We all want people to accept us. We all want people to think about us in a certain way. And I'm going to tell you, it is not worth the loss of yourself to do things and keep yourself hidden anymore. It will become more and more detrimental to you to not let your light shine. It will become more and more impossible to shut down. And again, this is where the unconditional love comes in. When you have compassion, when you have that open heart, there's no ending, there's no beginning. There's a sending, a receiving. Again, all the religions talk about this. How about being in a constant state of prayer and meditation. Prayers when we send out, meditations when we receive. But we've been so taught to pray, 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 read, 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 do, that we don't listen. We don't take the time to receive. We get trapped in that lower mind that says, if I light these candles, if I say these mantras, if I do this or I do that, or I don't do this or I don't do that, then this will happen. Now, what will happen will be confusion and negativity. So when you are sending out and you're receiving at the same time, it's because your heart is open. It's because you're in a place that's not about fear. It's not about what other people think, what other people will do to you. It won't matter. It's a true empowerment, and it's not based on evoking powers outside of yourself or doing rituals or doing the true empowerment of the true path from everybody is to activate that unconditional love from inside of yourself. So it's easier than you think. And what happens is the more you're going to be vibrating to this frequency of the universe, this sound current, the more you're going to be feeling this oneness with everything, you're not going to want to be pulled down into negativity. You won't care after a while what other people are going to say or do. You'll be free from that. And that's what conditional love is. Conditional is, I will love you if you do this. I will love you if you don't do that. And we do it to ourselves. We do it to others. And the more you know that that's not a good path. And it's one of the darkest, hardest things in people's relationships, because what do we want to do when we're in a relationship? We're in a love relationship especially. We want to know that this person is ours. We don't want this person to be somebody else's. We don't. And it's a natural desire because, again, we want wholeness, we want oneness, we want fidelity, we want commitment. And it doesn't mean that you can't have it, but I will guarantee you the fastest way to not have it, because it's really the way the lower mind is set up. The lower mind, if somebody says, you can't do this, and you shouldn't do this, and you better not do this, guess what? The lower mind wants to do. The lower ego wants to do all those bad things, or whatever those things are you're not supposed to do, across the board. Across the board. It's just part of that lower vibration. It can't be a mental decision. When the way you live your life, or the way when you're living in a way of unconditional love for yourself, for others, it's not about fear and control of yourself or others. It's frequency. You know, I get people in here all the time and they're like, you know, I looked at my wife's phone, or I looked at my husband's phone, or I'm checking into all these things, and I go, well, how long has this been going on? That you felt like you wanted to be checking people's phone, and trust me, everybody wants to be Nancy Drew. Everybody, it's a natural thing within ourselves to be detectives. And it's not limited to women. Men do the same thing. Men do things with they may do it in a more subtle way of like, you know, where women will go, are they gone? I'm going to get every name that's on. I'm calling the phone company. Every second what this person was doing, you know. Yeah, it's those kind of things. But again, why wait till things are there? And that's the most obvious problem, especially in the Western mindset. We don't do something about something until it is in danger zone. We wait till there's a crisis, or we wait till there's suspicion, you know. And I go, well, when did you start really not liking the person you were with? Or why haven't you had sex with your wife or husband for 2 years? You know, and well, maybe that's why they're seeing somebody else. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not always, and we're so trained to be the victim, right? There's reasons why. I learned a long time ago, after 44 years of doing this work, I learned not to judge much of anything. I've heard everything you could ever possibly think of, good, bad, and different. And there's always 10 sides to every story. There's always 20 sides to every story of the whys of what people do. And so when you get out of that place of judgment for yourself or others, or take responsibility. So long before you're having to look at people's phones and see if somebody's texting them or whatever, or you're going through the glove box, or you're, hiring PIs, or you're putting the PI's being put out of business. You can, for $69, folks, you can get a little thing that tracks, put up on somebody's car, and tells you everywhere they're going, everything they're doing. I got news for you. You can, it's the way of the world. If you're to that point, give it up. Or look at yourself and see, what did I do to get here? What part did I have in reaching a point where there's this anger and suspicion and blaming, and I'm going to catch this person, I'm going to punish this person, and because all you're punishing is yourself. And it's one of the hardest lessons, because we all can get trapped in that one. It's such a tricky path with those kind of things. So again, in relationship, we can't change others, and that's what do people want to do? The minute they get married, for example, people put on the happy face, put on the whatever, the seducing energy. You get into, people think, I can change this person. Wrong. Wrong thinking. It's not the way it works. So again, work on you. We all get lonely. People all want to have connection and have another person or whatever. Do your inner work. I guarantee you, the more you do your inner work, the more whole you are, the more you learn to be, and it's a learned thing, learn to be alone without being lonely. There's a difference. And enjoy your own company. The world looks different. And it's very hard. It's a very hard thing. We want the company of others. We want to have connection. But you don't want to keep repeating patterns. Again, what is familiar is not always the highest thing. We don't attract people. We don't attract situations because they're bad or good. We attract them because they're familiar. So you really want to pay attention. Spirit many years ago would talk about, I used to do a lot of soulmate workshops. I actually had 3 or 4 couples meet and get married through the soulmate. And we've all had these experiences. We think, you've met your soulmate. You've met this right person. And all of a sudden, this honeymoon period starts to wane, and you feel like you're with your cellmate. It's no longer the soulmate. It's the cellmate. You are joined into a lower frequency, and you're going, how in the heck did this happen? It's the way things are. When we mesh with people, they become when we have sex with people, be very blunt, be very aware about sexual energy. When you connect with someone in an intimate way, they become you, you become them, you take on their energy. And if you don't think that's real, but again, there's ways to clear those vibrations. So you want to be aware. You don't want to just blindly think that another person, or if I have this job or make this money, or if I have this or that, that's going to make you happy. That's not going to fill the kind of voids we're talking about right now. As we're filling with light and everything's being exposed and there's literally nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, it's going to bring up lots of stuff and expose lots of pain. When you work through the pain, it's not there anymore. The pain is not your enemy on any level. When you feel discomfort, anxiety, or what you might call depression, all depression are denied emotions. So in the Western model, when people are depressed, we want to drug them. Really? Okay, no, that's not a good thing. People feel anxiety, well, let's give them some drugs. People feel, now, there's a reason why you're feeling anxious. Why don't you explore why you're feeling anxious? Why don't you get back to the source of the anxiety? Where did it originate? That's how they always say, follow the money. You want to follow your fear. You want to follow your anxiety. You want to follow your pain. You don't want to cover it. It's like putting a Band-Aid over cancer. When you cover it, when you mask it, it festers and it gets bigger. You know, it's like the old stories, you know that. The minute you tell even a little white lie and your motive is not at all anything bad, it balloons into this mess, right? And you go, why the hell did I just say what it was at the beginning? And many times it's very innocent. But we're trained to not tell the truth. We're trained to put on a different face, or to, if something is not right or is uncomfortable, we don't do much about it. Well, that's going to change. You're going to find more and more and more. You're going to stand up for yourself. You're going to stand up for other people, and you'll find that that's a much happier path for yourself. Does anybody have a question or anything they want to share before we do meditation? Kind of over a wide range of things, but it's very intense, very intense. And again, many things that are being mirrored to you. There's a lot of projection going on right now too. A lot of people, and this is a very valid point of psychiatry that's very real. There are times that when people will say something to you and you truly are not in denial and you know it's not about you, they are projecting. That's a real thing too, and that's a whole other story. So it's, again, a tricky thing to describe. Everything is not a mirror in the sense of if somebody is calling you names or saying you know, I was in a relationship for a long time, and this person would say to me, they would just say these bizarre things I knew had nothing to do with what I was thinking or feeling. But after a while, when somebody does that to you, you doubt yourself, and you kind of think, well, maybe they're seeing something I don't see, So it's very important to know, when you know yourself and there's a projection going on, you'll know that. There's another level. If someone is saying a truth to you, please be open to hear it. Because there are people reflecting truths to you as well. And there are people around us. This is another level of something that's very interesting. How do you feel about yourself? So many times, if you find yourself in a situation and someone has said a very hateful, negative thing about you, or is reflecting something to you, you want to go into that feeling, you want to go into that thought form, you want to go into what that activated and think, is there some part of me that feels that way about myself? Because that is a real thing that happens as well, is that we will find people to say things about us that we believe to be true that are negative. It's very true. It's very proven. So again, physician, heal thyself. Go within. Take responsibility. Work with looking at yourself in the mirror every day and really working with your energy. It's not a time to look away. It's not a time to find diversions. Again, they won't work. I
always like that phrase that we teach best what we most need to know.
Exactly.
You find yourself really focused, like somebody's doing something that's really, really like getting under your skin, and maybe there might be a little something there that you need to.
Yes.
You don't want to look at it yourself.
Right.
But you want to look at it in others and go, oh, you shouldn't do that.
Yes, exactly.
Not to be that.
No, but it's true.
Mode, but
it's true.
It's like a little mirror.
There's a mirror about that.
Why does that bother me so
Right.
much? Maybe there's a little something.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I've been going through that. I'm like, I do not want to be like that person, you know?
Yeah.
Because I see something in somebody else, and I'm like, that is bad.
Right.
Oh, wait, I'm doing that too.
Exactly.
I need to not do that.
Yeah, what pushes our buttons many times is about ourselves. And so again, go into that energy. Where does that take you? And again, when you don't take things personally anymore, then it doesn't activate you. So again, all the saints and masters have said the same things. Embrace your enemies. They bring you your greatest lessons. Embrace evil. It brings you the greatest lesson. And that's a tough one for people. But it goes back to basic concept of even martial arts. If we oppose something, we give it power. When you become one with it, you neutralize it. So that's the whole idea of embracing evil. It doesn't mean that you conduct yourself in an evil way, but it means, and again, instead of like, and again, that goes back to fundamentalism, when it's like everything is like Satan and Lucifer and the devil made me do it, and sometimes that can be true. But those kind of things. We want to get beyond that. We want to really go within and know. Any other things?
What about negative people? Like people that you care about, but they keep tearing you down. I mean, what do you do with that? Just like embrace it, or
You embrace it, and then after a while, if it becomes so toxic, you have to separate from it, and sometimes take breaks from it. Or
like
Yeah.
okay, sorry,
That's-
so just take a break from it, and then like evil people, for example, or people that I think are total pieces of shit. Excuse me. I should probably delete the Facebook or whatever,
Yeah.
all
there
time,
are some
right?
things there are some things that are not shades of gray.
Okay.
There's some things that are black and white, and there's some things that what was that?
Something on your roof.
Oh,
It would have ran
Very
over
rude.
here.
something is the roof. Well, that makes total sense, especially
Sorry about that.
what we were just speaking about.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's probably not Santa Claus. There's a chimney here. And it's not Christmas in July. It's already, okay. That's funny. That was very loud. No, there comes a time when you don't dance with the devil. There comes a time when you cut with, you have to, because it will infiltrate your vibration. And a lot of people think they can be strong enough to keep ties with people that are dark, people that have, and I'm here to tell you it's not a good idea.
I just want to piggyback on what he said, because I've gone through the exact same thing. I just moved back from California and realized I was going to have to cut out a lot of people that were negative and toxic that didn't grow with me, and I felt so guilty. I went back and forth for 3 months, and when I cut them out, I had so much more energy, and I had
Yeah.
so much more room to bring in like a happy, positive people.
Right.
And I just would just say, don't feel guilty about it, because you're taking care of yourself, and that's what you have to do.
Right.
But it's difficult, because I
Well,
went back and forth for 3 months deciding.
Especially when you're related to them.
it's very hard. That's a hard thing. When you're related to them, yes, those are the ones that are really hard, because they are. But again, many times our real family is our spiritual family. It's not our blood family. It's not and it's one of the reasons too that it's a good thing to not think of people in terms of roles. If we think of ourselves as a daughter or son, and we think about our parent as a father or mother, for example, we will have negative and positive expectations of them and of ourselves as that role. And it's very confining. Your parents were people. They just happened to give birth to you. They had other lives and other things going on besides you. And it's important to kill off the role. Start to, not in a disrespectful way, but within yourself, stop thinking this is my brother or my sister or my son or my daughter, or this is my father, or this is my mother, or this is my boss. Happens with work too. It's very toxic in work situations, because there's an immediate thing that happens if somebody is a boss or somebody's a supervisor or somebody's a this or somebody's a title. So again, we are much more than titles. So one of the best ways is to really work with your own, who am I? And get through the identity of a religion or a race or a sex or a this or that, and see yourself as a person and see other people, because it's a really real process when you can start to see people around you that you are related to as just people, and then see them as babies and as children. It takes away, it opens up a lot of new doors. Another way you can work with really toxic people or people that you do in many ways have to be around because of whatever, or people you know that you will never, wouldn't matter what you did, what you tried to do, they don't want to hear you, and you have this icky feeling, even though you've disconnected with them, but you still have this like, oh, why do I have this bad feeling, right? We don't ever have the right to interfere with somebody else's spiritual or psychic space, but what we can do is go within and say, if it's for my highest good and their highest good, I want to communicate. And then whatever you've ever wanted to say to that person, and again, don't censor it. You can say it out loud. You can say it in your heart, mind, body, and spirit. Get out the feelings. Then again, do forgiveness for yourself for that person, and then see that person as a little child and let things go. There's many ways to heal things. There are ways to heal things with people on the other side. Very frequently when people will come through from the other side, it's not always like what you see on TV. I get people in here all the time that show up, and there are people who may have molested the person that's sitting there. And that was a big shock to me 20, 30 years ago, when it would be like, because everybody wants to have their Aunt Mary, their Uncle John, or their, these and somebody first came through like this, and I said, oh my God, there's a man here, and his name's John, and he wants you to forgive him. And I didn't know exactly what it was at first. And the person just got like deer in the headlights, and I just started talking about certain ages this person was, or things that happened. Again, I wasn't seeing the details. And as this transmission from a person in this transcendent state, when we pass, we are forced to look to see how our thoughts, feelings, and actions affected other people. Then we're given a chance to heal and transmute. And it's like the story of the Christmas Carol. That's about with Scrooge. It's very much like that. He was forced to see what his decisions would do to Tiny Tim. This is what's going to happen. He'll be dead in a few years. It's a great story, but it's very real. It's what it's like. So when I've had powerful things like that happen, where people who thought they would never forgive a person, or that they believe that you die and you go to heaven or you go to hell, or somebody did something so horrific. I've even had murderers come through, which was really shocking. I've had different things. Yeah, that's why I don't do what Jonathan had. They can do all that stuff. That's good, and that's fine. That's another show. You don't ever know what's going to happen with mine. I get the wide variety, because to me it's all about healing. It's not like putting on a show, and I happen to like him. He's a good person, but you know what I'm saying. It's like it's all about healing. So when you need to know this, that even if somebody is not in their physical form, there are ways to heal with them. There are ways to connect. So don't go into that place of that. And again, with families tend to sometimes reincarnate together. But what's tricky in family karmic patterns is that sometimes you can have a child that was your parent, or you can have you can change roles. And that's why a lot of times people will have children, and every one of the children, they have like a different feeling about them, or they have a different relationship. It's just the way it is. Then there are some times, and I always say this because a lot of books you'll read will tell you that you always pick your parents. It's not true. There are sometimes that souls want to be born, somebody's having sex, and they make a crash landing, and then they go, oh my God, who the hell are these people? What was I thinking? I did not know these people. And that, yeah, I think you did that, Nancy. I'm sure you did that. I have met several people that I know, they were nothing like anybody, they don't even look like people in their family. There are people that just make the crash landing. So there's many different things that happen. So again, don't be a prisoner to appearances, or don't be a prisoner to family situations.
You had said that there are ways to make amends with people who have already died.
Yes,
I think that's why I'm here.
he's here.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
your husband. Yeah, he's here.
yeah.
Yeah, he's here. The father of your child. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's been here for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was him walking.
It might have been him on the roof. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been all over the place.
Oh yeah, I feel him. What happened when he was 23?
When he was 23, that's when he was 23 when, I think when we got engaged. Yeah, he was 23 when we got engaged.
And then,
When he came back to Indiana to get me, he celebrated his 23rd birthday, and that's when we officially got back together.
okay, because that's what he's showing me. He's giving me age 23. So he was in California
He was in,
or West or wherever he was.
yeah, somewhere west.
And he came back because he keeps showing me his age 23, age 23. Because he made there was something huge about, it's really important for you to think a lot about what was going on when he would have been 23. That particular event and the karmic aspects of that, and get a bigger picture on how things kind of unfolded. And how old was he when he passed?
25.
25, yeah. He's made a very conscious, I would say, okay, in April 23rd through about the middle end of July, he's, in the way we would think of time, in the other side, he has made big strides.
Yeah, he's been gone, I've noticed. He hasn't been
He's
around.
not trapped in the way he died. He's not trapped in he's not trapped in all of that. He's very free. So he's not, it's a whole, when his energy comes through, it's really a different rate of frequency and vibration, but he's in a different space. And you will have some things happen in the waking and dreaming state where you'll have experiences with him, but they won't be invasive. They will not be negative. And I would say during that April through July time, he really connected in, but not in an intrusive way, with your son. And so you want to think about some things that may have happened during that time with your son, with your child, and with the shift with your relationship. And what I'm being shown right now with him, he's in a place, he was definitely like in this place of emotional growth school where he was forced to, they just had to do a lot of work with him. But it's like he's graduated. I feel like he's like in another level now. And you will have evidence of that. But yeah, he's very much in a different place. And it's like you're in a different place. How old is the baby now?
He's 20 months.
Yeah. When he was 18 months, it's a 2 9-month cycles, there was a big shifting. So you'll feel another shift when he gets to the 2-year mark. You'll see a whole different integration. Does he talk about his father?
Liam,
Mm-hmm.
has before. He said dada before. He's like really never heard those words anywhere.
Because he has a
Yeah,
direct
yeah,
connection with him. They have a relationship and it's not unhealthy. And you will
Yeah.
see an evidence of that. So a lot of that pain and a lot of that, all that intense journey that you went through. And many times we have definite spiritual contracts with people. And you obviously had a spiritual contract to bring that soul in.
Mhm.
And then it's one of the hardest things is when,
I put up with a lot of shit to get that.
I
sold.
know you did. Yes, you did.
I almost got killed. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. It's treacherous. And it's, there's a lot about that whole story. But what you want to do is get bigger, bigger, bigger pictures. Are you in any way, shape, or form in contact with anybody in his family anymore?
I cut them off.
Yes,
officially.
you had to.
Yeah, we were gonna go visit, and his mom displayed signs of craziness too, and I just put an end to it.
Displayed signs of craziness.
I'm like, I just read the things that she said. I'm like, wow, this woman is unstable. Oh, we're not going out there. Nope.
Good choice. The apple didn't fall far from the tree.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I always
That
said
was the
about it,
problem. There was mental illness. There were sins of the
Okay.
fathers that go through 7 generations. There were genetic weaknesses. But again, it's an interesting thing how souls choose what certain things and how people are conceived, their birth, they come into this world, there's reasons for it. The good thing is I don't feel any type of genetic predisposition of those weaknesses of body, mind, and spirit from someone. It's like Liam got the best of the gene pool from both sides.
Yeah, you did.
You know,
Liam is special.
comes from mother in children.
Yeah.
In male children, intelligence is primarily
Intelligence is from the.
mother. Females.
Did you hear that, Marilyn?
Mother.
You're really smart because your mom is smart. No.
Yeah, males is a combination of both.
But I'd heard that before from somebody
Males,
else.
It's
Yeah.
mother's DNA.
It's mother's DNA in males, yeah. So it's like yeah, you're gonna have a lot. All of a sudden I saw right before you said that. Well, a few minutes before I saw him, and I
Yeah.
saw his black hair.
He's
Yeah.
staring.
Kitty is looking right there. That's
Yeah,
right.
well, it's interesting because I've always seen things my whole life, but at one point, like last week, I got touched. And it just, things have been happening, and I've noticed a lot.
Again, as we're healing the illusion of
And the thing that's so
separation.
fascinating to me is since you said that, my son recently has really been his look is changing, and he's starting to look more like his father.
So again, he was a handsome guy. So he got some of the good.
There you go.
He gets some of the
I
good
put
traits.
up with this shit so
It's amazing about how certain things with people put up. If you have good sex, people put up with a lot of stuff. If you have good sex, people put up a lot of stuff. I'm just speaking the truth. And some people, it's amazing what a hook will be of why people will overlook a lot of things. And what's always amazing to me is why people will put up with something. I get people in here who have been married 23 years and they had sex in like 15 years. I'm going, are you kidding me? What? You think, what is the hook? Why are they still together? Yeah. I mean, there's so many different reasons why people stay in situations. But no, he definitely got the best of the energies there. Does he want to paint or draw? Is he drawing on your walls?
No, he is very musical.
Yes, he's very creative.
Very musical, and he dances.
Good. Let him also, in a safe space, not your walls, but let him like draw or paint. I feel like there's something
we do
with that.
finger painting.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, there's another level of that creative expression that will come out. Yeah, absolutely. That's really neat. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while. Okay. You have to bring him by.
Oh, absolutely.
Have-
He's something else.
Is he just tearing around?
He is very chill.
Good.
And then he has his moments where he gets up and he goes crazy. He makes faces and he walks funny and he does this weird stuff now out of nowhere.
Well, he's expressing himself.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that terrible too, and they're not really terrible. They're just powerful. They're coming into their
I'm
empowerment.
tired of the word mine, that's for sure.
Oh, mine.
I go, no, this is actually mommy's, but I'll share with you.
And that's the way to teach that. But it is. That's that. Oh, And no is their favorite word.
Yeah.
Well, because they're finally getting to the point of being able to express themselves in some ways.
Being separate, you're
Being
truly
separate.
separate from mom.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, I've definitely raised him to be a little independent chap, that's for sure, because his mom is independent.
Some really good stuff. I mean, it's a neat time. How old is Olivia now?
She's only 18 months this month.
See, you get to 18 months,
Mm-hmm.
and she's adorable. She's awesome, too.
She's into nose too. No.
No, that's
But
right.
it's like, are you hot? No. Are you cold?
Our new favorite is, are you pooping?
No.
That's
Oh, wait,
hilarious.
mine's Liam said the same way, I poo. Thank you, I know.
That's one body function they can control.
It's like I
It's
go
all
stand
about
up.
control of their bodies. It's very fascinating, the development of children. And again, whatever age your children are, your grandchildren are, it activates in you what was going on when you were that age. And it gives you a chance to reparent yourself.
That's interesting you say that, because I'm having memories from when I was
Yes, you
20.
are. Are you still around your mom and dad a lot?
Yeah, I live with them.
You're still in with them? Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And my
You're
bed in my room is in the exact same spot for my head. It's just everything.
Oh my God, you're in the same, so you're like really
Same-
activated.
I'm really
Woo!
wanting to change my furniture arrangement lately.
You're sleeping in your childhood bed.
The bed my dad made for me.
Oh my Lord. Wow.
I'm really committed to this.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's, okay, that's some big,
Growing up in the shelter of the woods.
yeah.
Except for the creepy ass painting that was across my room, that always scared
Did you take it
daylights out of me
down?
as a child. I made my parents get
What
rid of
was it?
This little girl that was like, it was one of those paintings that would stare at you.
Oh yeah, it was never good across
She
your
haunted my
bed.
dreams. Oh my God, I remember I was 19, I went to Florida, and I opened up the cabinet, she's staring at me, and I just like,
No, and that's a really important thing to know, because the fastest way, it's, sometimes you have to surrender, and it's good to be home. There's a reason why you're there. And the more you're into that vibration and accept it, and then accept the activations and see what's happening and have the growth, because it's happening for your parents as well. Because they're getting double, triple stuff. They're getting stuff from when they were that age, when you were that age, and now, yeah, the whole night. They're getting the
yeah, he lightens
whole
up the whole
yard.
house, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
And it gives them a chance to be better parents than they were maybe to you. They were good parents, but they weren't bad parents. But you know what I'm saying? It's another chance of another level, because they're more mature now. And it's a lot of neat healing stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you're going to be real, I can feel it. I feel like there's a big change coming over the next 5-6 months with everything. Because I feel like your photography, I feel like the creative aspect is just the tip of the iceberg with your creative expression. I feel like there's a lot that's going to start. She's an excellent photographer, by the way. So you have a lot of, we have all these people that are good creative people, because you're going to feel this big creative urge come a different level with your creative expression. Anybody else before we do a little meditation? We're in California. Where are you?
Orange County.
Okay. But what town? What?
Oh, Costa Mesa.
I know. Okay. My son lives in Hollywood, so I know California.
I have a friend who's moving back from Costa Mesa.
Oh, really?
Ah, see.
Oh, that must be the time. Must be
Her
some type
husband's
of
in the
weird.
Marines.
Yeah.
Oh, mm-hmm. Those are stories, always. Yeah. Because the minute you talked about like cutting with those people,
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
Well, it was weird because I hadn't planned to move back to Louisville for another 2 years, and I hadn't even planned to move back to Louisville at all. But it just sort of, I couldn't fight the energy anymore, and I started going against it. So I'm in Louisville until I heal whatever I need to heal with that city, and then I'm moving on. But
Louisville's a very interesting place, and we're going to be doing a lot of exploration of some things down there.
interesting. Keep me posted.
Oh, well, yeah. There's a lot of karmic. There's a lot of. Oh my God! See, I see people as energy. Oh my God, you look so different in your energy field. You've changed.
I hope for the better.
Yes.
Okay.
I've known this woman for a long time, and I'm just going. Wait a minute. I know
No,
your dad.
ever since I moved
I
back
know
to
your dad.
Louisville, I
I'm like-
felt like ever since I moved back to Louisville, I felt like my old self, and I felt happier in California, even though like financially it was like strapped.
It's so hard.
It's like,
It is hard. It is hard.
but I'm just not happy in Louisville. There's just too much negative energy there.
But you got to embrace being there. You've heard from the guy that had the cat in California?
No, Andy, no.
That cat was so cool.
I know, Coltrane.
Coltrane. She had this cat that would come and visit her.
He basically
Adopted you. Yeah.
He adopted me. Yeah, first day I moved in.
And so what I'm going to tell you is this. I didn't even get it. I know who you are, but I really know who you are. Because I've been in this energy space tonight with people. Just people. Everybody's like big energy. There's two people that you may have perceived to be really, really negative or toxic in California, that there's a healing going on with work, it was good to cut connection, but on a higher level, and it's not about attachment, but it's about keeping kind of working with some stuff. I think somebody's going to surprise you. I think you may hear from somebody and it won't be like a hook or a negative thing.
It's not Hank, is it?
Well, he's still here.
I felt him the other day. I was up actually running
Hank is
yesterday
definitely
morning,
here.
and I was just like, it was just like this. As I was like running, I think I was running faster because I was getting so frustrated. Because again, I didn't say what I needed to say to him while I was dating him, and here I have all these regrets.
You were running away from it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, get away from me. I think I've endured your pain enough for 4 years. But, yeah, I just came to the conclusion that he'll always be around because we just have that energy.
You're the karmic link.
But I don't feel hooked by him.
No, you
So
aren't.
I think that's good. But,
That's a classic situation.
because you know how hooked I was on Shush.
That's a classic situation of what happens to some people. And you think you're crazy while you're going through it, but you're not. There are people, we have spiritual agreements before we come to this level. Excuse me. So what happens sometimes, we'll meet somebody and we have this huge connection. We know it's a connection. They have free will. Excuse me. And with their free will, they choose not to honor the connection.
Which happened, which was frustrating because I'm super intuitive. So the whole time
And you're
I'm
going,
talking to
wait a minute.
Marilene, I'm like, Marilene, this is what I'm feeling. I don't understand why it's acting so different than what I know to be true on a spiritual level. And that's the hardest part I've had with him was, okay, he has free will, and I'm like, but this is true on this side of the equation.
It's very, very hard because it happens often to people where you absolutely know that it's not some crazy, bipolar thing you're going through, or some weird attack. You just know that, and the other person's just like not getting it, and it happens, and it's one of the hardest. It is. I've had it in my own life. It's very difficult
It's the
because
only guy who's ever been able to hook
Yeah.
me like that, which was very, very frustrating because I don't get hooked onto relationships like that. But this guy had me like, whew.
what I get with him, he's in a different frequency too. I feel like there's just something. Have you been spending any time with your mother?
More time.
Because that's a very healing piece for
I've been
you.
very, yes, I can't, that she has been immense in helping actually heal my relationship with my dad.
Yes,
It's been
It's key.
very like,
because it's very interesting when we see people and we think certain things and we polarize and we think this was the person that we had the issue, and a lot of times
I did that, I was like,
the
my
other
mom was the
person.
bad one, then my dad was the bad one. I was like, okay, there can't always be a bad person.
yeah,
So,
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
So everything you've said here tonight, we just talked about tonight on the way
Yep.
over,
Yep.
and what I've been experiencing this whole year, and I'm just.
Well, you're going through I can feel your mother's energy in a really good way here.
Mhm.
And I feel your
It's changed a
sister's
lot.
energy. And I feel like there's a huge, so embrace being in Louisville. And I'll let you know when I'm going to come down there because we're going to do some really neat stuff. No, just embrace being there because don't resist it. Because it's a huge, you are going through a huge transmutation.
I can feel it because even when you're like, I don't even want to be around people right now. I don't like people. I'm irritated all the time. I don't feel like myself ever since I moved back to Louisville, you know, and it's been very weird. I'm like, what is going on?
Were you born there?
I was born in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, and then when did you guys go to Louisville?
When I was 2.
Okay.
Which
2.
is,
There's
and
a
I
2.
bring up the 2, and
The
I just told
synchronistic.
her, I was like, no, this is bringing up a whole new level, and I've recently, this might be too personal for everybody, but I recently went off my antidepressants, because I was like,
That's a good
no,
thing.
I'm gonna like
You don't-
deal with this stuff.
Right.
But it's like, I'm on edge, and I want to cry at every moment.
That's okay because antidepressants suck. They're meant to be given to people in intense circumstances and for short periods of time, not for years.
How long does it take for that to get
Come out of your body.
system?
There's ways to detox it, but it's going to take a few months because drugs
Okay.
get into your
Because I've been
tissue.
on and off and on since 2006, so.
There's a way. I'll run energy on you later. Well, we can transmute a bunch of it out. I see what were you taking if you don't mind me asking?
Lexapro.
Okay, it's better than some of them, but
Well, I tried it Effexor and it made me really crazy.
because you're not crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Tell
That's
me that
because
now.
you're not crazy. Yeah, Effexor is
Yeah,
a
that
very
was
heavy
crazy,
duty.
but yeah, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
That's why I just made
Lexapro
that
is better
decision.
than a lot of them. but-
Well, and I was glad that you brought that up because it just reinforced the decision to go off of it, and I'm just gonna deal and feel until I can't cry anymore, so it won't keep coming back
So,
up.
like I said, sometimes you have to crash and burn.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to crash and burn. I've talked about this openly. Can't tell you all the circuit, it doesn't even matter, but it's probably like in 2005, 2006, and there were some things that that converged in my life, and I didn't know anything to do, but I went crazy. But it lasted for about 3 hours. But I allowed myself to go crazy. I don't even know. I yelled, screamed, I don't even know what I did, and I didn't care because I knew if I did not get whatever this rage or frustration, or I didn't even know what it all was, but I knew if I didn't move my body, I found, and I remember going outside, I remember laying in my driveway. Fortunately, I don't have close neighbors. Nobody called the police. And I just remember I just crashed and burned. Once I crashed and burned, once I was laying in my driveway, and again, this was not, thank God, it's not like a pretty wooded area here. I felt really good. Then I stood up and I was fine. But we don't allow ourselves to crash and burn. We're not given space in our society to deal with things.
Because like what you're talking about the childhood stuff, everything about my truth, I've always been intuitive, but I grew up in a very fundamentalist household where you don't believe in psychics, you don't believe in this, you don't believe that. Luckily, Grandma Donna got me into all of
That's
that.
what. So she's here today. I know. Yeah, I saw.
Yay.
And your grandfather is
My
here.
grandfather, yeah.
Both of them. Yeah, they all came to see. This is so interesting. Long time ago. This is
So she's the one who got me into that, but having that just be pushed down, and having to accept my own personal truth of how I am, which is intuitive.
Right.
It's very difficult because
Oh.
a lot of obviously the connections I made before I knew that part of myself. Not everyone's onto that or will accept it. So it's like I'm creating this whole new path of it's very weird.
And then you're
time.
moving. You're in California. A lot of things happened there. And then you moved back to China, and you're around probably people you've known for a long time too.
And
Yes.
even those relationships, I'm like, oh, you seem so different than when I knew you. They seem so much more negative now. And I'm like, ugh. And I have one particular friend that I avoid his calls most of the time because I'm like, oh, you're so negative about everything. It's like everything she centered, and I'm just like, ugh.
But when you grow and change, it's not a simpatico thing anymore. You don't. Sometimes it's. We all gone through. We have a lot of drama, or you want to bitch and moan and groan with somebody, and you have friends.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly you've worked through stuff, and all of a sudden you don't want to. You're not there anymore. But they never leave that place.
If you change that, she won't be as comfortable around you. You're not.
Oh yeah, it's a mutual.
It'll get to a point where she doesn't want to be around you because you're more. You're not that
Upbeat.
negative.
Yeah,
Too much love.
It's
yeah.
a magnet.
It's yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I've done the whole I'll just let this relationship fade, and sometimes that work. And then there's some energy vampires who will hold on to every single
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
God, yes.
And those are the ones I had to let go this year. And the one girl I had to tell her, I said, you know what, relationships change, and I've grown out of this friendship. I said, it's nothing against you. but I was like, things like this happen.
And sometimes you have to speak up.
you do, and that's the biggest thing I've
And
been
there's
learning is you're
positive
just
ways
speaking your
to say, right, when you, there's
Exactly.
positive ways, because then it doesn't go into this negative way of destructing.
Because then it seems to always
Being
linger
destructive.
around if you do it in a super
Oh,
negative
yeah.
way. But if you just do it in a
If you
really
do it
like
clean
loving,
cut.
yeah, it's just I don't feel her
The
energy
negative
around me.
energy attaches and it feeds off each other, it perpetuates.
Yeah, and I am super sensitive to energy, so I've got that's been my whole thing this year. And I had that accident in January. Like, what was that about? 'Cause
Where were you?
Westport Road in Louisville.
Were you rear-ended?
I was rear-ended. Yeah.
Accidents or no accidents. When we have accidents, it speeds up your karma. And so it's always about, you need to think about what was going on in your life at that moment when the accident came. Sometimes it's to slow us down. Sometimes it's
I couldn't
to,
run. I couldn't do anything.
Right.
I gained weight. Like I was
But
like
that's
not who I
because you
am.
weren't supposed to run. How long are you up here?
I came up. I'm up here till Saturday morning.
Okay. Because the cranial sacral person that I know, it's weird because I have like a 2-hour appointment with them. I'd be more willing to give one of the hours if you want to go see her.
Really? When is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious.
We'll talk
It's from
after
2 to
then,
4. Yeah, because I had booked out 2 hours with her, but I don't need it. You could take one of those hours because I think it would help you get
I had
back
one
in
of those sessions
alignment.
at psychic fair or whatever, but I just didn't notice a difference.
No,
I
this
don't
wouldn't
know.
be at a psychic.
Well, no, I know. I'm just saying.
right.
Like they have
No.
one of those in Louisville.
That's where Kitty came from, actually. When I found that's where little Gracie came from, where I get my cranial sacral work.
Aw.
No, that's what I've known for years, and she's a nurse, and she does really trained cranial sacral. It wasn't like a weekend course, it's like
Yeah.
a real. Because I can see it will put you back in alignment. Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay, good. I
Yeah,
need some.
that's what you need. This is wonderful. Okay, let's meditate. We're going to do a short meditation. Doesn't matter if you have meditated, not meditated. That's why you do guided meditation. The most important thing is I want you all to know how safe it is to be in this state of consciousness, how loved you are, how needed you are on this earth, and how just open to receive. In accordance with each person's free will and highest good, we ask the bodies to align mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally in the present time. It's safe to let go of the past. It's safe to be in the present. It's safe to totally move forward into now. Again, I want you to feel the magnetic pull of the Divine Mother. How safe it is to be on the earth. Even on this day of 9/11, when there's lots of projection of terrorism and remembering things from 12 years ago, I want you to know how safe you are and how safe it is to be who you are in your physical body on this earth at this time. I want you to feel on the bottoms of your feet are hundreds of wheels of light or chakras. That's because we're walking trees, and these amazing energies that are on the bottoms of your feet are like a root system that go deep down into the earth. I want you to feel the pull of the earth, pulling poisons out of the body, mind, and spirit. Let them go down into the earth, out the bottoms of the feet, because the earth can transmute this negative energy. Just let it go. Let all the worry, the frustration, the fear, as you feel this energy moving down, I want you to feel the top of your head, the crown chakra opening up. We are of the heavens and we are of the earth, and this pull of gravity that's pulling you down into the earth. There's also many other chakras, energy centers, wheels of light that connect you to the Divine Father. I want you to feel and know There is only love, there is only wholeness and wellness and oneness. And as you feel this connection, it's very electrical in nature. You may even feel the top of your head start to get kind of itchy or start to have movement. There's a huge vortex of energy. We are of the stars. We are star-seeded from so many places, and we have genetic energies within us that are from the stars. I want you to feel this beautiful, beautiful heavenly energy, this starry energy, this electrical energy. And I want you to feel the wonderful, warm, magnetic pull of the Divine Mother, pulling this electrical energy of the Father down through your body. This connection of the Mother and the Father are creating new life within your body. We're like snakes shedding their skin. I want you to let go of dis-ease, let go of labels. It's safe to detoxify. It's safe to let go of pain and aches. It's safe to go into the places where there are pain, but to let it go. We ask the bodies to align in a way that the original divine blueprint can come into full activation. We ask Holy Spirit to go back into where anything's gone off the original divine blueprint that's now causing pain, suffering, negativity, blocks. And as you feel this energy, there's a lot of beautiful purple light and green light and yellow light here tonight. There's a very strong presence of both the yin and the yang, the male and the female energy. It's safe to be who you are. It's safe to let your light shine. It's safe to receive unconditional love from self, others, and spirit. It's safe to give unconditional love to self, others, and spirit. I want you to breathe down into your being. Come down into your body. It's safe to bring the spirit. Your energy goes out 20, 30, 40 feet, but I want you to feel the immense, large spirit body that you are, but consciously connect it with the body temple. I want you to feel, again, all the energy moving from the heavens, from the earth, moving through your body, creating life force. It's safe to co-create with God. It's safe to come out of hiding. It's safe to bring all of who you are into this level. I want you to picture this giant central sun of the solar plexus. If our body is a microcosm of the macrocosm, this is your central sun. And I want you to feel that energy radiating out. I want you to visualize the most beautiful orange-yellow energy. I'm going to get this furnace going. So as you're feeling this energy from the earth moving up now through the body, the root chakra is located by the tailbone in the perineum area of the body, and it's actually like a big taproot. Again, along with being the walking tree, you have this taproot. It's the color black, color of the earth, and it goes deep down into the earth, and it has the ability to pull energy up, but also to drain negative energy out. Just feel that taproot. Know that you have the sides and the bottoms of your feet, you have this taproot that moves with you, that pulls energy up, and it has the ability to drain the negative energy away. I want you to feel the most beautiful color of red moving up into the second chakra, into the sexual area, reproductive area. This area of the body is not just about sexuality or reproduction. It's your co-creative center. It's how you create new life force. We ask all pictures of death to be turned to pictures of life, all pictures of fear to be transmuted into pictures of unconditional love and truth. We ask all blocked energy, all judgment of the color red, all anything blocked in this area of the body that has to do with shame, fear, guilt, molestation, abuse. Let it go. It's safe to be a spiritual, sexual being on the earth at this time that co-creates, that creates new life force. Again, we ask all pictures of death to be turned into pictures of life. I want you to feel this amazing area of the body creating new life force, reversing aging. Send this energy through the immune system, through the lymphatic system, through all of the systems of the body to heal and transmute. Let go of those pictures of death. Let go of those pictures of aging, of disease. We ask for restoration of the body, mind, and spirit. We ask this blood red energy to go through your being and re-energize you. And again, right below the navel is what's called the Buddhic or the Christ flame. And so it's just like if you were going to turn on a stove, a gas stove. I want you to turn this knob, and it's going to ignite again, reignite this central sun, this third chakra. And this flame is the most beautiful. It's purple, it's orange, it's yellow, and it just ignited this whole central sun, this third chakra energy. I want you to feel the strength and the warmth and the positive energy in the center. I want you to trust your gut feelings. It's safe to know the truth. It's safe to feel that truth. It's safe to have true gut feelings. It's safe to have this area, instead of being a big void, I want you to feel the power of the positive ego, the power of this center. These first three chakras are the furnace, and they ignite and sustain the upper chakras. There's an amazing green energy moving up through the heart. Let it go through the heart, through the whole chest, through the lungs, through the shoulders. It's safe to receive this unconditional love, this beautiful green healing energy. Let this energy go deep into the darkest places of your heart where you have felt betrayed, abandoned, where there's been unrequited love, where there's been frustration, where there's been the hardening of the heart. Let this energy pierce your heart. There's a beautiful pink energy of unconditional love, and it has gold and silver, a beautiful sparkly energy moving into that heart to heal. It's safe to connect with the inner beloved. It's safe to connect with the inner male, the inner female. It's safe to let go of the anger and the bitterness and the victimization and the labels and the accusing and all the things, all the misperceptions about love hurting or betraying or not being able to find that true love. Let your heart fill with this unconditional love. Let it connect you. Let it move you. Let it move up and fill your heart, fill your chest, fill your lungs. It's safe to receive this unconditional love. It's safe to heal the darkest, deepest wounds. And I want you to feel this energy moving up through the throat. It's safe to speak your truth. It's safe to hear the truth. And it's a beautiful sapphire blue energy. And it's moving and clearing and healing. Let it go into the throat, into the gums, into the teeth, into the ears. Let this sapphire, brilliant, electric blue energy give you the courage to speak your truth, to hear the truth, to act on your gut feelings, to act on your inner knowing, to be in that place of the unconditional love. And as this energy moves up in the forehead, there are 2 pulse points, and they're connected with the pineal and pituitary gland. This is the third eye. We ask for a safe opening of that third eye, a safe way to connect, safe to see with the inner eye in a way that is balanced. It's safe to feel the empathic abilities that many of you have, but in a way that's balanced. It's safe to hear with the inner ear in a way that's balanced. There's an amazing sound you'll hear when you turn off the noise, turn off the TV, the radio. When you hear the different sounds of the sound current, you hear the sounds of the universe. When you know that it's way more than an ohm. And I want you to feel that vibrating through your heart. It's a beautiful purple color moving into that third eye. And as you open and feel this energy, again, moving up into this crown chakra, it's another beautiful purple color. In accordance with each person's free will and highest good, we ask all negative umbilical cords that are binding you into paths of suffering, negativity, toxicity, stagnant energy, saboteur connections, addictions, blocks of any kind. We ask them to come forward, not only to be cut, but pulled out by the root so they can no longer grow. We ask this light to shine deep into every corner of your being and expose these connections and pull them out by the root. Then again, only in accordance with each person's free will and highest good, we ask the Archangel Michael to sever all negative cords that are binding you. We We ask all the gifts of Holy Spirit that are appropriate for each person, that are inherent in each person, to come forward and integrate in a way that brings happiness, fulfillment, guidance for yourself, for others. We ask that illusion of separation totally to be healed. As you feel yourself as one with the whole universe, as only one big body of energy, and I want you just to know and feel how safe and loved and needed you are to be you, to be filled with joy and happiness. There are many, many people with us here, many, many people, many ancestors, many beings of light who have passed over recently, who have passed over a long time ago. They're all here. There are many family members. There are many connections that we all have present here with us, all sentient beings, all life forms, our animals are here. There's all types of connection here. And we send this love, this unconditional love. We ask for the barriers, the blocks to be removed. We ask this love to flow, this unconditional love to be actualized for ourselves and others. And there's a huge golden energy that you really are. I want you to feel how large this energy field is. All of you have energy fields that go out 20, 30, 40 feet. Feel the immense connection, conscious connection with this huge being that you are, and that has direct connection to God. And we ask every cell of the body to fill with this energy. Once again, we ask all pictures of death to be turned into pictures of life, all pictures of fear to be transmuted into pictures of unconditional love and truth. And we ask the peace that passes all understanding to come into the heart, mind, body, and spirit. And this process of healing and remembering and transmuting will continue into the night, into the dreams, into the days to come. And the last of the shedding of the old energy is falling away, being transmuted by this incredible light. And as you return to the consciousness of this room, you return feeling refreshed, renewed, safe, filled with light. Grounded, rooted, not only in the earth but in the heavens, knowing there is no separation, feeling the oneness, feeling the wholeness. There's an energy that is here that's really interesting. As we were up in spirit together, then we were expanded out in spirit, and then we were lifted back up in spirit. So I think one thing you're going to be experiencing, there's a healing that took place tonight of the nervous system. So instead of feeling that raw nerve or that anxiety or that, there's a lot of healing of the nerve endings and of the nervous system tonight that took place. So one of the things you're going to notice when you journey out tonight, and you go to work tomorrow, or go on with your life, you let go of a lot. Everybody here let go tons and tons of stuff, and you allowed yourselves to open and be filled consciously with much, much more light. And like I said, and this healing energy is just flowing. It's like there's a very clear difference between everybody's energy field as individuals and as a group energy. The other thing I would advise you to do when you go through these kinds of healing, it would be a good idea to take a shower, take a bath, because it cleanses more than the physical body. It will cleanse away things that you accumulated or some of the things that you were freed from. You'll feel a cleansing as you're washing away the old and allowing that new energy to emerge. And before you go to sleep, just say, if there's anything I should know, let me have a dream about it, let me remember it. And you'll have a lot of dreams. And again, in the next few days, it's very important here as we go into Friday at sundown and going through Monday to really go into that forgiveness of self and others. That taking time to go within, take that time to meditate, to heal, get off that fast track of going, finding diversions, finding things to keep you distracted. Be with yourself. It will pay off. It will be a very huge reward the more you can consciously connect with your life right now. Anybody else have anything they want to ask or say or share?
No, I heard some guy step behind me. I'm just wondering what that was.
You heard what?
A guy during the meditation step. He made like a crack sound, and he like just stood there. So I was just wondering who that
There's
was.
a lot of people here.
Oh, okay. I
There's
didn't know if it was like
lots
someone
of-
particularly connected to me.
There's
It
lots of people here. There are
felt
lots
like
of.
Grandpa to me.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I've been seeing your grandma and grandpa. I loved it when they used to come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still here. They're still here.
Chilling out.
Chilling out. Well, and it's neat. Tingly. Yeah. When you're tingly, that means the light's gone through every cell of your body. And it's gone into that nervous system, and it's healing those nerve endings. Yeah, the tingly, the heat, the cold, you'll feel different things, but that tingly is always a sign that the energy has circulated through all of your body. So that's a good thing.
I have a question. I've been healing myself lately, like physically touching and.
Yes, it's important to do.
and had a craniosacral therapy appointment last night, and I like literally felt like connections with the universe from the bottom of my feet. It was really
Oh, that's neat.
trippy. It was crazy. But what I want to ask is, now that I've healed this area, things are moving up in my throat.
Right?
Is that normal?
It's normal. Yeah, just let
Yeah.
the
feels like
energy
it's
move
just
up.
Stuck right here.
And then start working with the
Yeah.
throat and start giving yourself permission to speak your truth and ask what's trapped in there. And that energy will just keep moving. It will move.
Physically first.
Yeah, and it will, because if
Yeah.
you've been putting a lot of energy into the heart
Yeah.
area, then it will go into other places that you need, that you're ready to release. Well, we will be here next Wednesday, and thank you all for coming. You might be here next Wednesday.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, that would be a good
No,
thing.
it would be a good thing.
So good night to her. Oh, little kitty, she really liked you. She was just like, I found a little home here.
She's staring her down.
So now I go right to left.
Yeah.